Good evening. Definitely should be good evening for most of you out there. How are we doing? We're live tonight. I don't really know what we're going to do. I just felt like, do you know what? We don't really live stream, I don't think, enough on the channel recently these days. And it felt like Sunday night would probably be a good wee spot where we could just kick back and talk about a little bit of everything and anything. I've got some games on the TVs, on the TVs on the wall today. So I've got Skorupski and Bologna on one screen, and I've got Atletico Madrid on the other. I've sent some invite links out there to the good and the great of the Sorare community and lots of people that I just talk to in general. Maybe we'll get some people get crash and join us in. But I'm quite happy to take some cues from the live chat tonight, as well as just talk about kind of everything and anything that's kind of going on. I'm watching, I don't know if any of you have watched in this Bologna game, for example, right? But the penalty that Juventus got is like Juve are going to get done again with match fixing or something. Like it is absolutely criminal. The guy gave a free kick and then VAR stepped in and said, no, that happened inside the box. And I don't know what camera angle they looked at because it was not in the box. It was just give Juve a penalty. Now Bologna are winning 1-0. But then big Lucas Skorupski steps up with a big massive save. But obviously that's not the big news of the day. The big news of the day didn't have anything to do with SO5, obviously. Celtic versus Rangers in the semi-final. A 1-0 victory. I don't know if it was a tense game. It was like tight, but it wasn't really that tight. It was weird. It was quite an odd one. Like I was saying to friends and stuff, like I think it was a bit of a statement game, in the sense that like it didn't matter that we were playing Rangers in a semi-final. We still took off a lot of the big players like clockwork, like we normally do, So it was a weird game and a lot of, it was only one goal in it. Rangers could have scored two in the second half quite feasibly, So it was a weird game. I didn't leave it feeling like extra buzzing about Celtic. Kind of was a performance you expect to see. It was great to see Hatate and Jota just come straight back in and do their thing, but otherwise, SO5 wise, guys, it's been an absolute write off for me. So this is just like little silver lining stuff for me. Just watching some nice games of football at the end of the week, and hopefully we can maybe enjoy in some of that together. Let me know how you guys are getting on with anything in terms of SO5. He's watching in the games tonight. See, I've got Atleti on one tail, I've got Juve on the other. I wanted to get Marseille on, but the way my whole setup works here, I cannot get Marseille on at the same time as Bologna. So I had to make a decision, and obviously went with my goalkeeper. So yeah, it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy game week, Maybe Skorupski could save me, by the way, because he's not locked a clean sheet bonus in yet. And I'm looking forward to seeing that ring in at 60 minutes because he will pop up. He will pop up a nice little bit up to like 87 or something like that, which will be sweet. So don't want to count my chickens, but he might save me out of. I've got no teams with any hope this week. Unfortunately, my non-Celtic contingent this week were all over the shop, but hey ho, let's go. There's a bunch of legends in the live chat already, live and loud with us. So fist bumps to all. We've got Fake Dodoman who was first in. He's loving how overly happy I am in the thumbnail. It's just pictures, mate. I have to take these cringe pictures for the thumbnails. I've not done it in a long while. I probably should do it again, maybe update it a bit. But no, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Raul, fist bump, good to see you. FPL veteran, good to see you. Scotty Marshall, Simo. FPL veteran is saying probably because Celtic won today in terms of how happy I am. But I say no, it's just the bank of it. And in terms of doing the stream for tonight as well, I didn't want it to be an out and out Celtic aftermath stream because that's not really what this channel is about per se. Also, I support Celtic and it's a big part of what I'm up to, But yeah, no, this is a football channel, So we appreciate that, of course. But there's also plenty of our stuff going on as well. So I thought Sunday night it'll be not really. I used to stream like every game week, pre, post, everything. And then just the way the schedules went, and just the way things have developed and whatever, that's not really happened. And I miss just coming on stream where we're not really doing anything to, within a big structure of the start, middle, and end of how it should go and how it normally goes, kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to it tonight. Simon, Scott Marshall, Jonathan, Rico, man, good to see all you legends. Fist bumps to you all, of course. Hoodwink is in the house. So is Dion, good to see you. And everyone's just giving on some good evenings. Raul is telling me that he has Orsolini, who scored the penalty for Bologna, who are 1-0 up. And if you see on the screen, there, Orsolini, the goal scorer. So yeah, good to see that. Let's see. Rico Man's keeping an eye on his Sporting Stack. Our Sporting Lisbon playing there now as well. Rico Man's coming twice for that. FPL veteran is saying that he's new to Sorare. Loving it so far. A great scoring metric. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the scoring matrix. Definitely got a little bit of room for desire to be left in. I heard a fantastic suggestion. I'm sure it was on Sorare Data, but the possibility for a double, I'm sure it was Sorare Data, it's like double or triple or something. Possibility for goalkeeper stats, that would be quality. And yeah, I feel there are bits and pieces, but yeah, big fan of it myself, mate. And I'm glad to hear you enjoying it yourself. Where are we? Sorry, chat ran away there. Kevin Hare, Charlie Dunbar, Fist Bump Legends. Good to see you both. Just make sure it's not a super calendar. Go ballistic. Outcome again. Anyway, a few Jotas. Well, Jota is on form, by the way. Ever since McBride tipped him on the So Far So Rare podcast, Diogo Jota has been on fire. And it's hard to, like in terms of hold or sell, like if you're going to use him, keep him. Like, it's one of those ones where he's shown his worth again in that kind of regen post Sadio Mane, and really now ultimately post Firmino, kind of front three. So yeah, I think he's cool, man. 1-1? No, it's not 1-1. Sorry, no, it's not 1-1. Everyone's saying 1-1 to me. It can't be. Maybe you're behind me, and maybe I'm behind. But I think it is 1-1. Maybe everything I'm behind on. Marseille are playing so bad at the moment. Yeah, I'd like to see. Oh, is it 1-1 with Sporting? No, you're saying Juve is 1-1. Oh, it is 1-1. Yeah, Milik's just scored. Boo. Doesn't matter, but I've got the pen save, so it doesn't matter. It scored right on the 60 minutes. We don't even get the tease of the clean sheet point to come in. Scored right on the 60th minute. That's an absolute killer. No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I'm just. It must have just happened. I must be like solid 20 seconds behind or something. Good take from Milik, by the way. Absolutely fluffed the penalty that he shouldn't have got. But it's good that I got that penalty save, because it doesn't matter about the clean sheet. Skorupski's still going to hold a good score. But the team is without Skorupski pushing 100, but that's how much of a long shot the team is. It's probably not anywhere near getting anywhere near what it probably should have went by now. Are we expecting guests? Yeah, I sent the link about, so there's plenty of room for some people to be dropping in. And yeah, some people might do. I would expect a few people to drop in. We'll see what's happening. Connor Aspel, good to see you, my man. Catching up for everything. First time I've split up the Willis and Zimmerman, and Zimmy was a doubt, so left him out. I think McBride does something similar. Kevin Hare is a Liverpool fan. That Spurs game almost gave me a heart attack. Now, I watched the Liverpool Spurs game, and it was crazy. Honestly, I thought Liverpool were going to win 10-0 or something. Couldn't believe. I was watching it with my pal was over here, and he said, this Tottenham will draw this 3 each, is what he said. And see, when the goal went in, he was pulling his hair out. Should I put it on? And then literally 2 minutes later, I was like, mate, it's 4-3. Couldn't believe it. Diego Jota, man. And honestly, what a game it was. It really end to end. And Tottenham, man, are just fucking, honestly, indescribable. It showed you pictures of Daniel Levy in the stands, 16 minutes into the game, 3-0 down, and he's just sitting there like that. And you've got to think to yourself, how long are you going to kid yourself on for that you have an idea of what's going on and how you to do things, Off Juve are at it again. Oof. But yeah, if you've not seen the penalty for Juve, it is criminal, to say the least. All right. Saturday, Saturn 4th in All-Star Rare of Morris. Fist bump, congratulations, mate. Bloody gutted. Griezmann's creeping up on me, but Griezmann will be creeping up on you. 2 assists tonight. Still on the pitch as far as I can see. Gakpo seems to be finding his form as well. Gakpo and Diaz tonight as well, I think was amazing. I'll go and get the Liverpool game and look at the stats here, because the Liverpool game was beautiful for SO5, and I know we don't always put a bit of love. Share this tab instead. But yeah, Gakpo, Salah, Diaz, and then Jota, all 4 of them. Doesn't matter if they start or not, man. They were all involved. And Trent, Van Dijk got a clearance off the line, which was great to see. I knew Robbo was having a stinking game. He must have had about 3 error-led to shots. I counted 2. Yeah, so it was he was stinking, man, defensively today. Almost got an assist, I think, at one point. Was a bit unlucky with that. But yeah, very good performance from Gakpo. Very impressed with Diaz as well. This wee Harvey Elliott kid's pretty decent as well. I'm quite impressed with him. But I'm not totally convinced. I don't get him. Don't completely get him yet, So Gakpo is really finding that champ hero form, isn't he? No, just seeing if there was a score or something there. Let's hope we don't get another 2. Yeah, well, I don't want them. We don't want Juve conceding 3, of course. Jordan Forth, good to see you. Championship defences for both of them. It was totally Spurs. I couldn't. Yeah, it was. Yeah, very good way of putting it as well. Richarlison as well, like taking his shirt off and doing his wee pigeon dance for equalising for 3 each, and then straight away, boom, bubble burst. Yeah, it was a bit of a different one for sure. Scottish Championship FPL version, very good. Boris, good to see you. A long time, no, Monfrere. You need Grease to not score another 15 points to hold fourth. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Griezmann, 52 minutes, mate. It's quite possible he might, by the way. I've got that tab locked and loaded in case we did need it. So Griezmann at the moment is on an 86. Yes, you don't want him getting to 100. If he gets to 100, you're caught. Is that what it is? So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Jones coming good, plus another Trent assist. Kevin Herd, love it. Hi Quinny, can I send some limited and custom series to give away? They are absolutely not the best cards, but it's something. I'm not sure if we want to do giveaways on I just kind of hold fire the now, buddy. Maybe we'll do a giveaway. If far as people show up and people want to do it, maybe we'll think about it. Hold fire the now, buddy, because with this stream or whatever we're doing, whatever this ends up, whatever we end up doing tonight, however long we end up staying up, I don't want any pressure on having to go and organise doing that. Appreciate the generosity, hang fire, but maybe it's more appropriate for like deadline streams. There's only about 40 of these here now. Hopefully this is just a bit of us. But the subscribers, the community, the good guys, just having a no-nonsense, no-frills stream. And I say we should have some gate crashers crashing in on us as well, maybe. With some of the good football before we finish up the game week. Griezmann has played really well, and I must say he's made Morata look good tonight from the bits of the game I've seen. So he has been playing pretty well. Bologna, but by the way, are impressive. They're maybe not quite Villa potential, right? But I think we're all got a little bit of Villa and 20 inspirations from this season. And going into next season, if you're not trying to figure out who your 20 or who your Villa is going to be for next season already, if you don't have a team organically that you think, oh, maybe it could be us for whoever you support, maybe have a bunch of cards for already, then I think you're going to be missing a trick. So it's definitely something to think about, because differential power stacks that come in can be good fun in different weeks, because we've got a really interesting midweek coming up this midweek. And I think between now and the end of the European season, there is a lot of very interesting midweeks. So, yeah, all about that. Grant Smith, love it, mate. Love it. Where are we? Speaking about, yeah, Boris, you're right there. Bald Shenlock, good evening, my man. Fist bump. Was in the States 3 weeks ago. So first and last stream of the month. Caught the 27th cap 270 limited. Love it. Good to see you, Bald Shenlock, my man. Griezmann, yeah, I think I've seen that already. Sorry. Don't need the 100. Some crazy scores this week in All-Star. First is 505. Wow. Evening, Quinny, do you fancy for SPL relegation? I'm going to have a look at the table, Jack, actually. I've not given much thought about that. Because post-split, the fixtures will be very difficult. They'll all be cup finals. And with St Johnstone changing manager, the form Dundee United have caught, the form Motherwell have caught. I don't even know if Motherwell are bottom six, aren't they? Livingston, their kind of situation. So I don't really know. Mate. I'll have to have a look, but let's do that tonight. Let's have a look at that for sure. Remind me about that if I forget, but I probably won't forget, but in case I don't. Under with 25 AA, but I really don't need a DA from him, Roger. Nico Moro was a beast in Dinamo. Glad to see he's starting to do bits for Bologna. Yeah, I know he's been in the team the last couple of weeks. He has been. I've not watched that many full 90 minutes. Can't really claim to have watched this for the full 90 minutes. I've now got my back to it for the final half an hour. But yeah, he's looked decent tonight. Hi, Quinny. I'm still on Commons because I'm doing a free one. Love it. Go edits. There's nothing wrong with that at all, man. It's a pure patience play. And obviously, it's a low budget play, of course, as well. But there's nothing wrong with that, man. Like if I was patient, if I was high patience, low budget, like that's exactly. Be grinding and hustling every free angle and every, keep under 10 limiteds for as long as possible, yada yada, all that good stuff. Question: do friendly preseason count to utilize cards? No, they don't. Nothing at all. Only domestic league matches, and then like continental tournaments, and then most internationals, qualifiers, a lot of international qualifiers, and all senior domestic tournaments. I think we have had AFCON as a senior final. We had that scored. Not too sure about qualifiers. Don't think so. African World Cup qualifiers maybe sometimes get it. Depends on the coverage level from Opta, so you're at the mercy of some of these nations for that kind of thing. But in terms of fixture coverage, it's kind of the main body of it. County down, Kelly play off, but stay up. Yeah, I suppose. But McInnes, I don't know. McInnes is a big manager. I don't know. Have you seen Sorare tweet about 40 minutes ago? Interesting take on list or play. Let me go have a look at that. Because I seen Channy tweet this morning saying, like, oh, I'm really happy at this. I've not really looked at it. I've not really looked at the market. I've not really been trying to buy anything or sell anything. I don't really have much of a say on it. Well, that's a very interesting point from Zara. Obviously, he works at Sorare now, or he worked in some sort of capacity. He's saying he's got no part in this thing. But yeah, like fair enough, man. Like I said, I really have not put my hands on this yet. I've not really been in the market to try and get anything or really experience it. Obviously, I've experienced it from the personal point of view of I'm definitely not listening to anything that's in a team right now or anything like that. So I don't know. Maybe just I don't know. I don't have much of an opinion to express on it all, to be honest with you. Cengiz Under with a goal for Jonathan Gargi. Love to see it. Can we go and get the Marseille scores up? I think I might have access to Marseille through my common cards. Convenience. There we go. Yes, we do. Share this tab instead. Yeah, so we've got Cengiz Under on the score sheet. Alexis Sanchez not doing himself any favours. This guy Vitinha's up front. Issa Kabori on a good game. Klaus on a 75. Look at that midfield four for Marseille. That's beautiful, isn't it? Great scores in there. Great Marseille stack this week. Paul Lopez, the goalkeeper that never wants to give you the clean sheet or the 50-plus score. Continues to live on and live up to his legacy. Send a tweet, please. Is it possible to win prizes on Sorare with a budget of $10? Abdi Malik. So the only yes, it is, but you could buy a card for $10 and play a semi-pro division like Premier League, where you would buy one limited card and you'd play it with all your white cards that are free, and that's your captain as well. So you kind of like buy a captain almost. You can do that for the top 5 leagues in Europe and MLS. They all have that game mode available. So yeah, I suppose you could win cards for $10, or you could win prizes. For sure. You'd be playing with one player. Maybe if you went for a really low budget and you weren't expecting to win too big too often, you could maybe get a couple of players. Maybe one in Spain, one in England or something. But again, you'd be getting quite low quality players there. So your expectations, you need to understand what players you're picking up. So playing with the white ones in the first place will help, because then you're just working out, oh, that guy who was really good for me, his limited's only £2. That's a steal, because he can score 60 for me. And as a captain could be valuable, etc. So yes, for $10, even with nothing, obviously playing the free mode, plenty of people that do that and have fun and pull out wee prizes here and there. So yeah, I would say you can. No one has money right now. Well, yeah, well, I'm not flush myself, especially after a strong. Does the Skorupski score do any wonders? No, really, because that team was kind of dead already anyway. None of my teams really got off the ground this week, unfortunately. But I think I think it's probably what I should say. So I beg your pardon. I'll go get the team on screen. I've got it's a long shot, but it's probably one of my only shots. I think it is my only shot left, but it is super long. I had so many unexpected DNPs this week. But yeah, so let me share this tab instead. It's mega long, but Skorupski, that's what I was thinking. Oh wow, imagine he got to 100. That would kind of soften the blow a little bit. But between Maffeo and Legit, I need them to break 80 points average between them. So that's a bit of an ask. I don't think Maffeo has really done 80 points this season. I don't think Legit's done 80 points this season. So I'm asking for quite a bit there. Again, didn't do great. Skorupski's doing great. And Edward came off the bench and was unlucky not to get a shot or something like that. At least maybe get a bit of AA, but no, I didn't. So Quite like having the Marseille scores up there. Jonathan Klaus, by the way, is one of the most fun left backs to watch now. If you haven't watched Marseille or you're watching them now, if you've not seen Jonathan Klaus, I highly recommend it. Checking them out. Anyone saw the Villa Boca Juniors misses? No, I've not seen it yet. Klaus is a legend. 2-1 Marseille. Oh, so it is. Alexis Sanchez, he must have heard me. Maybe I should be putting that game on now. Bologna's at 1 each, 74 minutes. This is at 78. Nah, I'm probably going to miss this now. I wonder who got the assist, actually. Anyone in that midfield? Oh, Gwen Doozy from the bench, it looks like. Offside, maybe. You could play 220 with $10. You maybe could. Get like 4 low-budget guys, low quality that would fit the cap 220 budget. And yeah, you probably could. Maybe that'd probably be a bit harder. You could probably work up to that. But the limited semi-pro, the commons, is that what you have or have the Prem draft? Yeah, so if you do any of the draft modes, all of those common cards you can use in other modes as well as, so you can play your commons 4 times, 3 times or whatever in the game week. You can play them in every game mode available. There's, they're multi-use. So you can play the 3 modes and you can take the same cards and play them with 1 limited and 240. And then you can take one of those cards and play them with some other ones in either Pro 270, that's a league-specific mode, or you could go into 220 or something like that with 1 common card as well. So, yeah, there's a few little options there, but you need to be really shrewd if you're trying to get multiplayer teams out at that light a budget, to be quite honest. Picked up Jeffrey Schlupp for £2. Well, that is brilliant, to be honest with you, because Jeffrey Schlupp, like that whole Palace team, I tipped him this week, guys. I tried to put a little... I'm trying to take the drafts a bit seriously. Now, my draft teams have all sucked this week. They've all sucked really hard. But a few of the shouts I made were kind of spot on. I brought in Bouragoat, double assist 81. Cherky DNP'd. But I wanted to go bring up, what was a way to look at there? Oh, yeah, Palace. We picked up Schlupp for £2. Like, yeah, a $10 budget. If you're able to get guys like Schlupp here and get a wee cheeky 67, if you know the game coming, or even an Eze, who was my tip for the game week, 83, highest score. And I was actually worried about him because at one point when it was like 2-0 or 3-1 or something, he hadn't done anything and he was one of the lowest scorers in the team. And I was like, oh no, but I picked the only guy. But then his penalty was brilliant. He won the penalty as well. So even if someone else took it, he'd have got the decisive for penalty one. But it's good that he gets also the goal. And yeah, man, if you can get guys like Schlupp for $2 or £2 or whatever, I dare say you could probably get 4 or 5 guys of that standing. Probably get a decent wee team out there. But yeah, loving it. Ali Zara's comment earlier, it's burnt me already. Trying a cheeky swap with Pavel that was rejected. Lost a 270 entry for it. Going to make things interesting. Oh, wow, Swiss Mafia. That's definitely an interesting one for sure. It's definitely made me hesitate to send a deal until the game week closes, I suppose. But I don't really understand I've not came to the full circle view yet of really understanding what that means for me, what that means for you guys, what that means for other people that are thinking like that and behaving like that. Yeah, I've not really came to terms with that. So yeah, it's interesting to kind of get what you guys are thinking also. Looking into some Chinese Super League cards, but I can't find any info in the situation regarding AA if they play it on a Friday. I think it's only the K League that you need to worry about for that, but I'm sure the chat may be able to help out. Ian Sorare does say that as well. China's still, I think China's still fine. It's just Korea that has that delay. Yeah. And then, person with a funny sign. I don't know if that's Red Devil or something like that, but somebody with a wee funny sign for a name is confirming that as well. Joe Ward is about to go for £1.50. Joe Ward is like well favoured at Palace as well. He's don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. Have you seen how tight La Liga 2 currently is? No, I have not. Well, we're going to have a wee check out of La Liga 2. I was looking at some of the league tables coming into tonight, by the way, because I wanted to say this. See about Borussia Dortmund, not Borussia Dortmund. I was talking about Juve's shenanigans tonight for their penalty. I didn't see the Dortmund game, right? But I heard Dortmund were fuming, absolutely fuming. And when you look at the table now, after they dropped points at Bochum with that draw, Bayern didn't even have that convincing a win. I know it was earlier today. I didn't watch the game. 2-0 it was, which, against Hertha, anyone talking about that game expects it to be a run over. But Gnabry and Coman with the goals, not an overly convincing game on the stats either as well. 9 shots on target. That's 1 every 10 minutes in that game, which was poor going by Bayern standards. But now, man, it looks like Dortmund had their destiny in their hands, and now down to that Bochum game where the ref was apparently maybe a bit shaky. Oh, we've got a party crasher coming in a second. Let me go and throw La Liga 2 on screen so you can peer your eyes over that while I'll go and get my party crasher, the gate crasher, to come in and say hello and see what's shaking and moving. Let me see him. There he is. Hendo, my man, good to see you.
Hello, mate. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, my man. How's it going?
Nice one. Good, pal. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Just opening up this La Liga 2 to see how tight it is. And look at that, man. Top 4, top 5 is mad tight. It's not something I've paid attention to this year. I don't think you're any different there.
No, it's not something I've had a look at. What were you kind of going through?
No, it was just to chat through it up because we're talking about actually just cheap stacks and stuff like that. And something just thrown up saying Alaves is a stack. Don't want them to get promoted. They're sitting in 4th at the moment. So it's like 3 teams there tied on 65 points. The top team automatic promotion is on 67. So somebody wants their team to stay in La Liga 2. So I was just popping the wee thing up on screen. But I was just saying as well, Hendo, and I feel free to bring up anything you want, obviously, but I was just saying in the chat before you come on about Dortmund. They had the destiny there in their own hands, and then that dodgy Friday night game, and then Bayern winning 2-0 today. It's upside down. Bayern are back in the driving seat again.
Yeah, a little bit of a crumble, I guess you could say. I don't know. I can't say that I watched too much of them, but from what I have seen, it seems like they've been struggling to keep goals out. I don't know if they've been affected by any kind of major injuries or anything, but definitely not what they were looking for.
Yeah, no, big time, man. So you've been up to anyway?
What have I been up to? Good question. I've been playing poker this weekend, so that's been a lot of the time taken up. I was travelling today, back up from Manchester, so got in, and that was pretty much just in time for the Old Firm. I got in just before kick-off.
Nice.
Pretty bad game, not going to lie. Not something that, not a game that I thought was a classic anyway. But like I said, Celtic didn't get out first gear, and they still won the game. So that's one encouraging thing, I guess you would say, as a Celtic fan. After that was obviously straight onto the Liverpool game, Liverpool Spurs, which is pretty mental. I know that you watched that. What was your kind of your takeaways from that one?
Trent bossed it a bit, didn't he? He was brilliant. I don't know, main takeaways. It was just mental. When it got to 3-0, I kind of switched off. I had something else on at the same time as well. I think I was watching. I've had all 3 of those tellies on most of the day. But after 3-0, it just seemed to die off a bit. But Liverpool, I thought, they're kind of back at it now. And then, because they were heavy pressing and they were getting lots of mistakes out of Tottenham, and Tottenham just looked so woefully mince. And I didn't see the comeback coming. But my pal watching the game, he's seen it coming. It was funny to see them. Somebody called it in the chat earlier, Spurs it up at the end, get back to 3 each and then drop it a hat, boom, 4-3.
It's a little bit like Hibs in it, I guess, if you were talking about in Scottish terms, very similar. But even just looking at Trent's score there, they only managed 63. But on another day, it just shows you the kind of difference with the swing of points, because you can see there's 12 points off for goals conceded. Oh, yeah. So on another day, say it's not someone with as good an attack as Tottenham, say they keep a clean sheet on that day, and then Trent bosses it like that. That's the difference is 22 points. So he comes up with an 85 rather than a 63. That's kind of the damage of those goals, because everything else you can see he's going to be someone that gives the ball away a lot just because he's trying to stab through balls through, or he's trying to create chances. That's always going to happen. And at the same time, you can see 8 penalty area entries are really good for a defender. Only 1 attempted assist, but it feels like the attempted assist he is going for are being pretty fruitful, and he's going to get a few of them usually in a game. So yeah, it's definitely, and it's exciting just to see how that kind of role develops. I think once they sort out midfield signings, and again, there's been a few kind of rumoured about. I don't know if you've looked into this, but I don't know if you maybe have any suggestions for who might be good. I know that one of the names mentioned was Kokchu from Feyenoord, which would be an interesting one. I'm not sure he's necessarily the engine player that they need to maybe start phasing Fabinho out, but I don't know if you've got any good suggestions.
No, I don't. I don't know. It'd be mental if they didn't go and get somebody like that, Quinny or something, go and get a good Bundesliga midfielder in, because they need energy. Like, you know,
What about
I didn't realize.
Keita though? They went and got Keita, and he's been terrible.
Nah, he's broken, but you know, he's just been injured. But I didn't realise until looking at the screen now, like I watched the game, but I didn't realise Jones and Elliott both started. I seen Elliott started, but I don't know who else I thought was in midfield, to be honest with you. I thought it was maybe, I can't remember who I thought it was. But they were very energetic in midfield, you know, so maybe they've got, I don't know, maybe these guys are part of it. But in terms of that number 6 sitting midfielder, there's not many like top quality ones out there. Like Real Madrid bought Tchouameni and Camavinga, you know, kind of greedily. So, like, you know, there's not many, like, you know, and again, I think PSG hoarded a few of them. I don't know how good some of them are, right enough, but there's not that many floating about the market. I think that's why they like to Gravenberch, is it not? Because, like, what else is there?
I think one of the things that was floated was obviously Real selling Tchouameni to kind of fund Jude Bellingham, depending on how much it would cost. So I think they said they were looking to kind of recoup sort of 70 mil for Tchouameni and then going to get Bellingham for circa 150 euros, which is obviously a lot, but it sets their midfield for, you know, for the next 10 plus years. Ball Sherlock and Declan Rice, I think that's a really good fit if Liverpool's got the capital to go and get it. There's not going to, well, in my opinion, there's not many better ball carriers from sort of deep areas. He's one of the best across Europe. I think he's starting to add a little bit of end product, especially in the Conference League for West Ham. He's starting to do bits over there. So yeah, I think he's at a point now he needs to move. And West Ham, given where they are in the league, I think they're going to probably move him on. Say, I don't know, they'll be looking for probably 100 mil, but with a year left on his deal, I don't see Liverpool paying even maybe 60% of what they're looking for.
Yeah, I don't think. But I think Liverpool would finance a deal for Declan Rice before they would finance a deal for Bellingham, because Bellingham's just going to be miles out of their price range. Because by all accounts, I think that Liverpool, the people that own them, I don't think they're too keen on spending money at the moment. So going and getting a player for 150 million, which Bellingham would probably cost for an English club, you know, like Dortmund see them coming, you know.
Yeah, just looking at Ian Sorare, I really don't like that Mateus Nunes, as much as he's like a decent enough player. If you're not getting a game for Wolves, who are sort of a bottom 8 club, then I don't see how you're going to come in and solve Liverpool's issues. I don't really get that.
What about one of the Villa lads, like Douglas Luiz? Would you take him at Liverpool?
No, not really. I don't think he's better than what they've got. I think he's quite limited. He's not particularly dynamic. He's good on the ball and he has some really good games, but I don't think he's got that consistency. I think there's a reason why he's at where he's at. I know that Arsenal tried to sign him, but I think Arsenal were kind of devoid of any midfield at that point, and now they've managed to get Xhaka's form back, and they've got Odegaard who just carries the team. When you see like Partey drop out, for example, because they've got that defensive slot sorted, they really lack depth. And that's Arsenal's issue. But Liverpool just need somebody who can go in and start straight away. And I was going to say as well, I don't know if you've seen Rice's scores, but he's got an L5 of 70 on Sorare, which is actually quite mad.
That is mental.
He's got 2 goals in there, but other than that, I mean, he's got 54, 58 and 61 as the other 2 scores, which are all 80. And then when he has got the goals, it's an 86 and an 88.
Nice.
So yeah, he's had in really good form.
What about, like, I don't know if Man City will be selling that Calvin Phillips, but surely he could go to a team and play, you think, on paper?
Yeah, he's definitely more of like, you know, what you would maybe class as like a regista, like kind of deep line playmaker type. So again, I don't know if he really sorts I think the big issue is the defence is not protected anymore because Fabinho has declined quite rapidly, which I don't think anybody would have seen coming.
Yeah,
I think they need to not even just phase him out, but replace him. Rob C saying they're after Ugarte, which would be really good. He's really consistent. So obviously you need consistency at that level. Yeah, even like his Sorare scores are so on the money for consistency.
Nah, they should have went and got Enzo, shouldn't they?
I mean, Enzo's just looked so good in such a bad Chelsea team, but they just don't have the
saying
fun.
Enzo the fee.
Enzo Lefebvre, that'd be interesting. Is he not? Would you not say he's more of an attacking mid? No.
I think so, but I think because of the Prem, he's probably he could be a wee playmaker type, you know.
He can play all over, I guess, judging by kind of positions that he's played this season. So that's good maybe for versatility. I know that they like that. Rob C says 53 mil release cost for Ugarte. That would be interesting. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. And Rob says we need 3 to 4 mids. I agree, Rob. I think that whilst Jones and Elliott are playing now, I don't really see Elliott being like a long-term centre mid option because I don't really see him as a centre mid. Jones, I think, is okay for a squad player, but you can tell when there's a drop off at points when like Henderson was still actually really consistent. When it dropped off to Jones, there was a massive drop all round play. So I definitely think they need somebody in that role. They need a creative mid, like really desperately, because Thiago's never available.
Yeah.
And then they need a defensive mid to replace Fabinho. So there's 3 right off the bat. So it'd be interesting to see. They could sign Hatate. There you go.
Yeah, Ian Sorare said that in the chat there as well. And somebody said I have 3 or 4 mids. I had that as a note on mine, is like rebuilding the Liverpool midfield when they get linked to Gravenberch, because like they don't need to go and sign a Gravenberch, but they do need to replace like 3 or 4 players. You know, they need to replace Oxlade, Chamberlain, Milner, Henderson, Fabinho. You know, there's that's at least the kind of people. Keita, probably could argue as well. They probably need to sort that position out in the squad. That's like 4 or 5 mids really. You're kind of after in one way, shape, or form over the next 2 seasons, if not now. So I see somebody here as well saying Barella's a dream. Yeah, Barella could be gotten as well. You could get players out of Italy, not too bad. If you're Liverpool, I think.
Barella's he's just top 1% for so many metrics. Like in terms of he's a really top classy player. Yeah. You're gonna get him at his peak years. He might cost you, like, say 70 mil, 75 mil. But I'd imagine Inter will be quite open to selling players if they don't go and win the Champions League. I would imagine that there will be some sort of exodus to start balancing the books over there. And Barella at that age, he's probably worth cashing in on. So he'd definitely be one. Even looking at it as well, they were linked with Alexis McAllister. I really like that. He's at a good age, 24. He can play number 10, number 8, and he can kind of do a job at number 6 as well.
He's kind of the Coutinho fit, isn't he? Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's just obviously he's going to, after such a good season, he's going to then cost you, your 60, 70 mil anyway. And then Brighton are just going to replace him with, Gilmore or whoever they can pluck out of Ecuador or Venezuela or something. They just spawn players.
Yeah. I've just seen Scott Marshall tip me off here in the chat, but we've got the return of Memphis Depay. Memphis is back on the pitch. He's back on, loving it.
I'm just getting a charger, mate.
That's cool, man. Jonathan saying he'd love a Gravenberch VVD stack. That would be nice. But yeah, Barella and Rio Hatate would be probably make that Liverpool team much better. But let's hope Rio stays in Glasgow a bit longer. Ugarte, Barella, and McAllister, says Rob C. That would be a good build if you're just going to get free out of the market in the summer. But maybe the worry is all 3. I suppose Barella's at Inter Milan, but I was going to say maybe the worry with those 3 is maybe making the step up. But fair enough.
It'll be funny when Brighton go and get Hatate for like 15 mil. And then everyone's like, oh, where did they get this guy from? They're just spawning players again, as if he's not been really great for Celtic since he went in.
I know. Well, I hope not. I really hope. They're probably, I've got a TV down. Oh, no, it's back up. I really hope the wee man stays on for another year. Because I really do think, and me and you chat quite often, but I really do feel that the move that these guys should get, they should have a good Champions League campaign, first of all, and then maybe the right teams come in for them, and it's not like Edward going to Palace and Ayer going to Brentford and whatever. It's a bit more, even the Belly going to Leon was a wee bit lackluster, but you want to see these guys leaving and going and playing somewhere and being proper good, right off the bat. And I think having a good Champions League campaign is what you need to attract that interest,
And it must be really exciting for you because that Angie's whole ethos is to build towards being a Champions League team. And part of that is just, you've got to spin up this budget to then go and get the exact players that he's wanting to go and get. And if you can be successful, it'll keep those players around until they're perfectly ready to go. And you'll be able to get top dollar for them and hopefully, only have to sell a few of them to start balancing books rather than wholesale changes. So I'd imagine that'll be quite exciting for yourself.
It's kind of. I'm really excited to get the Kobayashi off the shelf stat off, get his XP up and running. I built my D2 team for the weekend already. I'm just a Celtic team. After seeing the game today, when people get subbed off and whatever, I was like, cool. Kobayashi, McGregor, Kyogo, Rio, and that super rare team. Put that to the side. I know they'll all play. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this little portion of the season, at least anyway. And
I think Mike's saying how you set for summer utility, Quinny.
I'm kind of writing it off a little bit. I've got 3 rare keepers, and that's it. And those rare keepers are Tani, Barraza, and Sean Johnson. So Tani is playing for now, but as we both know, he's not going to play every game this season. So just kind of waiting for that next dropping to happen, and take your medicine for a month for however long it might be this time. So I'm not like holding up. And I did a funny week. I didn't do a wee. I did a calculation, Hendo, right? So I looked at my super rare American or non-EU contingent, right? And I've got 2 defenders. This is about a month or so ago before I sold Giuliano and before I sold Hulse. And maybe I sold some. No, I think that was it. But I had 2 defenders, super rare, 5 mids, 2 strikers. And I was looking at the cost of a goalkeeper and I was trying to work out, we seem to actually look at the time the Europeans are actually away.
It's not as long this year.
Yeah, I worked out as well. If I go and get a super rare keeper, between the time the Europeans are away, I would need to hit like 7 thresholds to be up on the situation, to have made that worthwhile. But there's only I'm making these numbers up, right? But it's like there's 15 game weeks available or 13 game weeks available to do it. And so I just kind of thought, well, do you know what? I can accept. Just it's not worth the stretch for me right now. It's not worth me stretching to get that. It's just pointless, especially if I would be costing myself. And I've done this a bunch of times with my gallery in one way, shape, or form. But maybe trade myself out of a good position into something that's a bit shitter because it'll pay off in the longer run. But I'm kind of not bothering with that so much. In terms of keeping utility full spreads, I'm just going to be running away. I'm going to call it 2.5 teams throughout the European off season. What about you, Hendo?
Yeah, same for me. Just written it off. Still trying to sell on Kalina, who originally I basically got him in a trade, and I thought I'll put him as part of a America team. And just in terms of depth, a lot of my America strikers were U23 anyway. I had Brenner, and I had Jesus Ferreira. So they were both more U23 options, and just through what had happened in Europe, I just really didn't need them. So they were part of a sale. I managed to get rid of a few other pieces. So I had Miles Robinson, I had Paul McCall. These all went sort of as the season was just about to start. So Rui Diaz as well, I had him as well. So they all got sold off as part of a bigger project. So not anything that I'm looking at. I'm just going to have a nice quiet one. Obviously, keep an eye on the market, see if there's anything that I can kind of trade in and out of, and just focus on actually doing summer stuff over summer. And there's a few things in terms of personal life and stuff I'm doing. I'm doing exams, I'm doing all other bits and bobs. So just focus on that over the summer, and then when we come back next season, be fighting fit to go again.
Aye, I kind of feel that way as well. It's good to enjoy. Yeah, it's one of these things.
I don't know about you, but there's enough pieces that I want to add to my main strategies that it's almost like summer strategies become too much of a side element. So
that's a luxury.
Yeah, exactly. It's a luxury that just at the moment it's not something that I can really afford to have. So I'm really focusing on that main strategy. There's still plenty of pieces, and again, you and I spoke quite recently. We were talking about using that kind of beta concept builder to start looking at what do my ideal lineups look like next season. How did they actually perform this season? I've not quite tied all that down yet, so I'm still waiting to really, really get deep into that. And again, for me, it depends on a lot of the moves over summer. Who's getting stacked with who, that kind of thing. So depend on if Gvardiol moves, if David moves, which it really looks like he will. It's then just about who do they go to.
For sure. I was just putting the concept liner builder up there, but I didn't really know what to throw at it.
It's probably just good for people to know. It's something that even I've been here nearly 3 years or something, but it's something that I've only just been made aware of, that it's actually even there. And it just helps you sort of visualize what do you want your teams to look like. And a lot of things I'm looking for next season, because I get left quite short, especially U23 wise. If you're looking at midweeks, and let's just say someone like Harry, for example, Harry Trades, He has been like the midweek king this year, and the reason being because he's planned ahead, and because he plays under 23, he managed to get a Verbruggen in, and Verbruggen's just seemed to perform so well in midweeks. He's been the best U23 option by a mile, and I've always been left short in playing All-Star, which is not to the best of my strengths, I don't think. So it's just about planning ahead and seeing, right, okay, with the pieces that I've got, how can I best fit these into as many lineups as possible? And I know that you're not a huge fan of stacking, but what stacking allows you to do is make sure that these players have all got a game at the same time. That's one real advantage, which is kind of goes a little bit overlooked, I think.
Yeah, I having that guaranteed they'll all play together at the one time is definitely undervalued. So there's your boy DeBast. It would probably go with him then, isn't it? They're both at Anderlecht. And
I
Harry was
don't have
telling me a bit about
Verbruggen, but
Aye.
yeah, I don't have, and I don't intend to get him because I'm not. I'm probably going to move away from U23 this season, which is quite a big step. But it's just because I've got a lot of the pieces I've got are sort of Champ Euro based, or at least the powerful ones. So that's probably where my focus is going to be next season, is mainly over in the Champ Euro realm, which probably means getting a big piece in terms of midfield, because I'm extremely short there. But it's almost like a blank canvas in a way. And again, like I said, if David ends up at Bayern Munich, that could be Kimmich. If he ends up at, I don't know, who needs a striker, Man United, then that could be, I don't know, who's good in midfield at Man United. Nobody. Bruno, yeah, exactly. That's a good call. So yeah, it really depends on where these pieces go. If it ends up, Guardiola ends up at Liverpool or Man City, I'd much prefer Liverpool because Alisson is much better than Ederson on SO5. But it could be about getting that kind of piece in behind. We'll just need to wait and see.
It's quite exciting when you've got players that you hope they get good transfers. You're not worried about shitey ones. So, like, yeah, it can always be good when it works out. I've not had many ones proper. Well, I had a few Celtic ones obviously work out with the. I think I still had my. No, I didn't think I had my Tati. I don't know if I've actually had any of those cards when they moved to Celtic already. I think I went and had to go and get them back in, didn't I? But,
I was going to ask.
Good transfers on the go.
Yeah, I was actually just looking at Hatate. Have you got a midfielder card in yet?
Not yet.
The rare one.
Might wait for a champion edition or something,
Yeah, I mean, lowest in the market is 150, and he's been going sort of closer to that 100 mark, which I think is actually quite nice.
Aye, that's decent. I'm hoping to get Carter Vickers on injury discount as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Once he gets a couple of DNPs rolling.
Yeah.
Let's have a little look.
And then McBride said to me today, and you've seen this in the chat as well, but for anyone out there might be interested, but he reckons Rafi Guerrero's on his way to Benfica and Grimaldo will be on his way out. So if you're interested in those developments, there you go.
Jonathan said as well, we think it's Ralston time with AJ injured. Yeah, probably. I don't see that Celtic really have any other options to sort of slot in there, especially when they're going to have Kobayashi. So they want to keep it as kind of, as much of a unit as possible from now to the end of the season. So yes, I think it'll be Ralston that comes in.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. And then it'll probably be the same back four that run for the rest of the season. Let's just put this Ugarte in this concept. I've just been clicking a wee concept in case any of you haven't seen this before. You just pick any team you want, any level, and it'll tell you how many draw awards it would have won. So this team here,
now, you've got to remember as well, one thing I'd missed out, you can add in like their power. So you can add in what their kind of percentage is, and then also you need to add a captain as well.
Nice.
That will give you the true reflection.
That's a new detail, yeah. Since all the same, I don't mind having it just for this anyway, but that's not too bad. I think would that be 3 out of 7 game weeks or something here over the last 3 months? Is that what it said? 7 game weeks rewards. It says 0, but it looks like it would hit on the lines here. Maybe I'm misreading that.
So it's on the right hand side. It should say.
Yeah, it's 0. It says 0.
7 game weeks were all played. It has 0 rewards.
And this is in 240 as well. It's over the cap. But anyway, you can do this kind of thing if you're so motivated.
Is it another quiet midweek for you, Quinny? Have you looked yet?
I'm gonna have 3. I've got 3 goalkeepers, and I don't really know. 5-2 Memphis. Oh, brilliant! I've not seen that yet on my TV. 2 seconds. This might be about to happen now. Yes, it is. Is that Kondogbia? Let's see what's going on here. Memphis involved in the build-up play. Let's see Ascendo on the break. Wee bit of Dyson Maeda action. Wee bit of pressing. No, maybe not. Maybe I'll come back in a second. I've got 3 goalkeepers. I'll show you them in a second, but I've got a wee bit of options. But a bit of a mad. I've kind of got an even numbered amount of super rares and rares available. So it's like so I've got like 2 super rare keepers, 1 rare keeper, 1 super rare forward, maybe 1 rare forward or something like that. I can't remember. I've got like no rare midfielders as well, or something that's pure. Like I've got a mad problem this midweek.
I think I'm running a 3-player cap 240. If you've ever seen one of them before.
Cruyff turns, mate, then dribbles another guy, sits him down, and then slots it past the keeper.
Very nice.
Memphis is back. Loving it.
Yeah, I've only got Robbo, Van Dijk, and Vinicius, which is 3 nice pieces, and then I have no midfielder and no goalkeeper. So it'll just be going into cap 240 and hoping for 300s.
Can you see the screen?
But yes, I can see the screen.
So that's like my 3 best teams I think I can make. The Saka's going to be on the bench. So that's like the 3 best teams I can make, I think. Obviously, I can maybe jiggle them about a bit and maybe play them in different places. I still have 1 or 2 cards unselected. I can't remember who they are exactly, but I've got some good options, man. I've got some okay options at least anyway. It's just kind of, where's the winning team at, you know?
That is definitely something that I have struggled with finding. Where is the winning team at, unfortunately?
I did have Depay as an option, actually. I didn't pick him, and obviously I've seen him come back tonight now. So maybe I've got another forward available. Yeah, I do. Depay, nice. So I've got Depay available, which makes things a bit easier. And then maybe that means I can probably play Depay in here. Oh, see, I've got Gabri Vega. I'm not playing in a team. I've got Brais Mendes. I've got Maffeo. I've got Kieran Tierney. Got a few players I'm not playing here, but so I'm quite hopeful again. Last midweek, but mate, I was hopeful, and it was crap. It was absolutely crap.
Unfortunately, as you know, it was Ferro that done me. If I'd had Christie in there, I think I was looking at a tier 2.
Yeah.
And it's just been selection that's just killed me recently. Just a little bit, unfortunately. It's been 15 game weeks since I won that Wirtz with the 2nd place finish. Yeah. But yeah, 330 points in All-Star Rare Pro. I was 45 points. In fact, yeah, I was 51.12 points off a tier 2 rare plus the 0.04. And I think Christie with the multiply and stuff, I don't know what his exact score was. That was 48.9. So because he was a super rare, the multiplier would have to come up to about 60 points. So would have been in that tier 2 plus the ETH range, which is a bit of a sting.
That wouldn't have been bad if you got in there, man. It's so tight, man, as well. Like, see, my 240 team this week, mate, I get 2 DNPs in it. My 240 super rare team is the first one I pick. You know, it should be, you know how I build it. Fucking nail to play. Try and get 2 decisives in the team. You know, 2 DNPs. You know, I couldn't believe it. Like flat, not even on the benches. You know, like didn't even fucking.
This is an interesting one as well. It's am I just trying to shoehorn a super rare into there? Because on the face of it, and again, hindsight's 2020, of course, but Liverpool had West Ham really struggling, and I've got Robertson and Van Dijk. So is it just a game week where, because I've got them over 2 lineups here, one is cap 240, which ended up 10.4 points short, which is ridiculous because Solé had an expected score of about 60 and he scored 38.1. So that really killed the lineup, and that was with a DNP keeper as well. So is it just a case of like, do we just scrap that team and play literally just the best team that's possible? Again, it's hindsight, but sometimes that's maybe the questions that I need to ask a little bit more.
I was trying to look at it, and like I say, I'm looking at I just get done this week just by bad games and DNPs. Like, just like look at this. Cunha on the bench played every game recently, 6-0. Obviously, they got humped as well. And see, because they were getting humped, the manager made like 4 changes at half time, so he was never going to get on then later on in the match. It just pure crippled him. And then Kufri, I guess, it just gave him a break because he's played every game so far. Didn't see that coming. And then
one good thing, and again, I've said this to you before, I think if these kind of weeks are churning along, then what you have to be doing if you're not hitting cards is just grinding those thresholds. Has to be done. So like cap 240 last week, again, I've just realised it was 1 point off a tier 5. Now tier 5s aren't worth much, but at the same time. That was 315 points. Robbo again, I think he had 282s in a row. Szymanski with 75 and Mynan's with 100. It just happened that, Clark concedes in a 6-1 against Ross County, and it was such a daft penalty that was given away in the 86th minute. Like, just pure nonsense from Cochrane. And because of that, I mean, Ross County was their first shot. So it was one of those games where Clark gets no score because he's not made a save the whole game. And then Nisbet against St Johnstone thought he would do a lot better than a 30. So that one was literally like, because it's a cap mode, you're looking at it, you're 96 points off the podium, 35 points from Clark. Obviously Nisbet would have had to smash it, but even like 30 points to a tier 3 and 70 to a tier 2, it's just little margins, but they make a big difference, unfortunately. But managed to hit that and the cap 240 super rare threshold that week. So obviously that's just what you need to be doing to at least build up something to then, right, how can I afford my next piece? Beat the game, and then you can look at kind of winning the other stuff.
Yeah. Because the thresholds, especially the now, like, you do just want to keep your wallet getting filled up with as much as you can get. Especially the now, like some of the, you've got strategies that are kind of half built or you're in the process of getting strengthened. Like, you just never know when a wee cheeky auction is going to come up or something like that. And this list and play stuff, Hendo, I don't know if you've had much experience with it yet, or anything, but if you can get pieces in cheaper, like we were talking about. Excuse me. Sorry, 2 seconds.
Bless you.
We're talking about like injury discounts and transfers and stuff like that. You just never know how things are going to progress at this moment. If you've got, I say, these wee strategies that are maybe half built or on the way to getting built, and thresholds, if you're not picking up cards, then thresholds are your next best pal to getting the cards that level up.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely. Swiss Mafia saying, what's happened to Gabby Vega last few weeks? I haven't kept up with Celta recently. That's one for you, I guess.
Well, he's also had all that transfer stuff really linked to like Real Madrid. I think it's just a wee bit of like, it's just this bad patch, like just looking at his whole season scores here. It's just like, 5 or 6 games. This is also when he first kind of broke on, I would say obviously, but this is like his first kind of appearances and whatever. But there's good games come in little bunches. And he's just on a little bunch of not so good games now. So, but tough matches, Mallorca, Real Madrid, Villarreal on the bench. But it's just one of those ones. He just can't play amazing every week. I think he is quite young. It is like his debut season, basically. So it's just one of those ones. Take the rough with a smooth with young players. It's rubbish, but when you just get them in your team and you want to play them, or you put them in a really good team and you think, this guy's got the power to kill, and then they just don't turn up because it's, I say he's 20 and he's just not played this amount of football before, and he's just having a bad time not getting anything come his way yet, I think.
Check Kimmich auction list. Or check Kimmich auction list and plays working. Look at the SRD prices, recent and the new auction. Okay.
Check Kimmich.
So he's got an auction apparently going.
Okay.
So his auction's sitting at 1.29 ETH.
1.29, oh wow. Well, the last auction went for 1.
Okay.
The last one went for 1.3, so...
And his floor sitting at 1.73.
Does that really prove anything, I think? I think some people were kind of like bemused at seeing Kimmich about an ETH at one point. I think that's probably that one auction that we just pulled up there. I think people were like, oh my God, Kimmich is an ETH. But we've seen that before. I've seen that before with cards where people are like, oh my God, like... I think it was like, I think it was one of the last kind of dippy things we had. And I think somebody was at one point like, Mbappe or Messi. One of them got right cheap. And it was almost like anyone could kind of buy them again at one point. And then again, as soon as somebody says it, the floor gets lifted, people just go and buy them up or whatever. So I don't know if that's really a direct list or play thing, or if it just like, he just did get a card or two go out there a bit cheap and people are like, hold on, they go and get one now.
It's good though. I think it's definitely stabilised a little bit. A market that was generally just downturning for the sake of downturning means that people really need to put a bit of thought into selling rather than just selling because 18 other people have them up for sale. And if they don't sell now, then they're going to get undercut by the next person.
Yeah. And there's only one on the floor at the moment, so everyone else has them locked in, obviously, for a game week, except this guy. And he banged out a 100, it looks like, against Hertha, that 2-0 win.
Yeah, even like Trent, yeah, it's coincided with form, but you're able to get Trent for 0.23. That was 14 days ago, and he last sold for just shy of 0.7 on auction. That's like 3.3 times what he was, just from a little run of form. I mean, a little run of form. His L5's 80.
Mm-hmm.
The new role really suiting him well.
Yeah, big time, man. Totally turned around, and he was.
I will just say though,
I
will just say that he's got 6 assists in 5 games, and he has an assist in each one of those 5 games. So that's propped up his score. His AA has been 27, which is good, and 42, which is great, and then 8.6, 21, and 3.18. So not as good.
Yeah, it's nice to see, but
it's also nice to see that Liverpool have 0 clean sheets in those 5 games. So that's another 14 points that you could add on another day.
Yeah. Sorry, wait 2 seconds. Just turning the TVs to fit us off. Yeah, because looking at Trippier as well, I've not actually looked at the scores, but I've been hearing everyone moaning about him since I think a few people picked him up recently and cursed him. So maybe Trippier's becoming affordable, perhaps again. His form's been okay. 72 this weekend.
I think it's very much like reversion to the mean with Kieran Trippier. And I will just say, I know you call him Trippy, but he's come out and said himself it's Trippier. So there you go. He's not French. But yeah, I think it's just reversion to the mean. I was listening to an FPL thing, and they were saying people at the start of the season didn't want to, just because his scores are going, like because he was assisting and scoring and all this kind of stuff, people just want to stay on that positive, train. They don't want to think about, oh well, he might actually be getting a little bit lucky here. Newcastle are maybe conceding less than what their XG says that they should be conceding, and all that kind of stuff. And now it's just kind of, over that past little run, they've only had 1 clean sheet. In fact, have they even had 1? They haven't had a clean sheet since the 31st of March, so that's a month ago. And then even before that, you're then looking back to the 24th of January, I think. So yeah, they've been really poor defensively second half of the season, and they were just really good start. I think himself, his performances have still been decent, but you can see there the assists a little bit have dried up too. He's only had 2 since the turn of the year, basically.
Aye, I'm with you on that. I think like Trippier, it's quality, but with the set piece volume that you get with a guy like that, similar to Trent as well. That's kind of why I that name popped into my head, because it's kind of the same as the Vega thing, where you just take the rough with the smooth. That sometimes their AA is going to go against them, where the possession lost is going to be minus 17, and it's just going to thrash them, And yeah, even though they've won 4-1, these came out with 42. I don't know if Trent had anything quite that bad, but I don't think he'll be too far away from it. So it's a joy. It's the joy in the death of the fullback, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just good that they're just really good on the scoring matrix here. I don't know if you've seen it as well, by the way. Andy Robertson put up something that just said Jota Sundays. It was a picture of Diogo, of course, but he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
I was going to ask you a question, just saying in terms of either from your own gallery or anybody you've noticed on the market that you think might, they've had a dip, they've maybe not quite recovered, and somebody that you've definitely got your eye on for even towards the end of the season or beyond.
I'm not too sure. It depends. I've not been, especially in the last week or two, I've been kind of removed, and I think the market's probably moved around a little bit. But I do think I think a lot of people, mate, are writing off U23 as a competition of importance for next season. And I think there's a little bit. I'll give you an example. Right, see, for next weekend, I'm probably going to play maybe a Champ America team over a cap division, because I actually could use a win. I could use a win in Champ America. I could use winning a goalkeeper. That would be nice if I could win one, or something like that. If that makes sense. And I think I'm going to treat U23 a bit like that, probably. And I think that's probably, I don't know. I think so many people are just disarming from under 23. And I know you've kind of said that already, even tonight. And there is a lot of power going, and there's a lot of probably problems that you're going to have by building teams and consistent lineups throughout the year and whatever. But I don't know. I think little opportunities like that are probably coming around because under 23 players are still quality to win. If you get good tier 2s and tier 1s on the regular, they'll definitely help your gallery and be useful in the market. So I don't know. U23s in general, maybe.
Yeah, the difference is, right, so in terms of consistency, and I can't remember who it was that put this on Twitter, but they said, I think the most consistent age band is between like sort of 27 and 30, and that ties in with obviously that's when players tend to peak in their careers, not across all positions, but if we're taking that as a law of averages, that's a good kind of bracket. That tends to be where they're either like very key to the team that they're in, if that is the case, or they've just got to a level of consistency where, like, they've now developed their game. That's just what happens. U23s are more volatile. They can maybe, be dominating in a small league, and then they get their move to that big team. It takes a while to adapt. We all know this, right? The reason I'm changing over is because I just want to win the best prizes possible. So that's literally the reason why I'm moving. Mbappe's not there, and Mike of Pompey's saying 8 of the top 20 U23s L40 age out this summer. So there you're losing a big amount. So what you might see is, the U23 premium start to kind of dissipate a little bit. And in turn, that means that people like myself are going to be looking towards the non-U23 market. So, there might actually be a nice organic kind of growth in that side of stuff, and maybe even make U23s affordable. And to the layman, I guess it would be more about, what should U23s be? It should be picking up players before they're actually at this level for maybe something that's cheaper to then sell them when they're in their pomp later on. I guess that's how most people think about buying younger players, whereas it's actually been the flip side of that so far on Sorare.
Yeah, it has been. I guess, but football, wonder kids and, golden boy winners and up and coming, they're always going to have like lots of attention and lots of speculation around them about growing into being the next Ronaldo or Messi or whatever we're going to say over the next 10 to 15 years, So I think there'll always be extra hype. And I think it's mainly we're losing a bit of a generation. It's mainly part of it as well. Like there's a few of the big guys all going together this year. It's not just one or two, it's they say 8 out of the top 20 or something, was it? So
that's it. And Mike Basson says, RU23, this summer's where the real scouting done previously is going to pay divs. If you want to carry on there, the prizes aren't going to be the same, which is, a really good point. I was going to say one player to answer my own question, which is, something that nobody likes doing, but just because I've noticed him, because he's in my own gallery, was Andy Robertson. The reason being, obviously, I'm just looking at Transfermarkt, still got a massive market value. He's under contract until 2026, so he's got 3 more years at least at Liverpool. He's probably one of these guys that will end up, playing there till 35 and then maybe coming back to Scotland. That's what I see. But it was more about like looking at sort of like what kind of player is he, and then looking at something like, he's had a few injuries, but none of them like scare me too much in terms of none of them being long term, and none of them being like hamstring related or anything to do with speed or movement, which is what his game's all about. He's pretty flaky, which means he's actually quite good for cap modes. And again, he's not got a floor anymore just because of the list in play, but he was going for less than 0.1, which I think is mad considering he's going to be the starting left back. I think it's just because he was rotating a little bit with Tsimikas for a bit, but in essence, Tsimikas is nowhere near the level of Robertson, so that's how I see it.
Yeah, and I think as well, I think guys like that, even if you, as I was thinking into next season with Liverpool, if they get back into Champions League or they're playing Europa League, like Robertson probably doesn't play Europa League next year. They probably play Tsimikas on a Thursday night, kind of thing, so there's some situations like that. Like Robbo, if you get him cheap enough, then now jackpot, you've got him in, and then you can get a wee cheeky backup handcuff situation, then you've got a defender situation.
Yeah, he's going to be playing. I mean, they will be playing midweek, so as it goes on, you might end up actually getting a few midweek ties that are actually quite favourable because it's in that thing. And Liverpool want to maybe win it because it's a good route into the Champions League. Like just to think. Simply, Alex is talking of world-class Scottish left backs. Do you think KT will move on? I guess I'll answer that one because I think the answer is yes. I think Arsenal will look to turn a profit on a player who's not actually been fully fit for the whole time it's been there, and they've also replaced him for the same amount of money. Because it sounds like 30 million to Newcastle just makes a lot of sense for both parties. I think Dan Burns is very improvable, as much as he's a Geordie lad and he's actually been really solid. I think he's very limited, and I'm pretty sure he's pushing 30. If not, he's already there. I think Tierney's a perfect kind of foil to come into there.
I think it feels like Newcastle is the place he goes to. Like, I've had people speak to me that claim to have had the word passed to them, as it were, but closer to Glasgow you can live, the better. It's kind of the vibe that comes from the Tierney camp, So Newcastle feels like a perfect solution. Big money, Premier League, not that far from Glasgow, etc., etc. So could see it happening all day, every day. But there's rumours Man City want him and all. I don't think he would say no to Manchester if Pep phoned him. I don't see him saying no to that.
No, that's true. I think that obviously the emergence of Rico Lewis maybe curbs that a little bit, as much as I don't think he's actually particularly good. He's 17, so he could be absolutely fantastic. I just think at this moment he got that little glimpse in, and City's form kind of faltered as it did, and he just looked good because he was a young player who was full of energy in terms of what his output was, and especially looking at his Sorare scores and stuff, they were really bad. So. He's just one for the future. So if they're actually thinking about maybe just getting a guy in short term, it maybe makes sense. And 30 million to City is not a lot of money. But yes, that I think that's his most likely places. And just to answer another question as well, if Trent keeps his inverted fullback role, does that restrict the amount of times Robbo gets forward? Have you got any strong thoughts on that one, Quinny?
Well, he's had back-to-back 80s in this form. He had a stinker today, but it wasn't for a lack of offensive opportunities, He gave the ball away 3 times for shots. I think the only 2 of them would get caught on his score, error led to shot. But he honestly could have had error led to goal at least once or twice. Van Dijk's clearance off the line bailed him out. And there was another one. There was at least 2 that get caught on that scoring thing anyway. But no, I don't think that does change. But I think I think the Robbo kind of thing, what we mentioned there is probably the best way to think of it. Is like the reason I've always liked Robbo in my SO5 teams is like Klopp always seems to play him. Like no matter what, he'll always play Robbo in the big games. He'll always play him in the league. And yeah, obviously Simicast gets his minutes and gets his appearances, but I can't. I'm not sure. It's something that would worry me longer term with Robbo than now. I think when he's not starting for Liverpool, he'll be moved on. I don't think he's the sort of guy that fades into the background there. He'll be sold to somebody or he'll be out of contract and move on to somebody for a free or something. While he's still a starting left back for Liverpool kind of mould.
Yeah, I agree. And one other thing as well, just Sorare basis, just because he's got very good scores for Scotland when he plays, which is always a bonus. And yeah, he's just a national hero, and he's just great.
National hero indeed.
Watched Rico a few times. He has class. His SR scores not so. I don't know if I'd agree he's class. I think he's just young and showing potential. I don't think he's anywhere a patch on like Man City starting level, which is where he was at during this season. So I think he could be class. I think he could be world class, but just not right now.
What do you think about Raheem Sterling, mate, for 0.7? 0.07. I beg your pardon.
Well, I was going to say for 0.7, definitely not. I'm always worried with when smart teams sell players. And I'm sure you know what I mean by that. But Man City cashing in on Sterling when they did. He's only 28, which is mad. He's been around forever and he's been extremely effective. But, I mean, his scoring pattern is so flaky. I don't know if I can see back to Man City. He was just in a dominating team and he was absolutely class. I think Chelsea look really devoid of ideas. It's not someone who I'd be looking at. But, I mean, if you could get a run, then, I don't know, he could be a cat mode monster. He could be really good there. But, no, I just think Chelsea I think they're in trouble. I don't think they're very good at all.
Nah, I don't think he plays in a Chelsea team that recovers either. I don't think he's... I don't know. What the hell is this? Can't he play in attacking mid?
I think Quinny has played attacking mid. Do you not remember he had a stint there under Sorare as well?
They're trying to play him like John McGinn. Is that what they're trying to do? They think Canty's John McGinn now?
Quinny wishes.
Canty thinks he's John McGinn. Never thought I'd see the day.
Attacking mid. Yeah,
But
I don't like that.
Yeah, Gallagher. Somebody mentioned Gallagher for Liverpool earlier on as well. Sterling to
Yeah,
MLS, says Charlie.
Sterling to MLS. Oh dear,
But yeah,
that's
bit
sad.
early
I
for
don't think he's
that,
that
maybe.
bad. I don't think he's that bad, but I get your point. I get what you're getting at. Gallagher, yeah, definitely fits the mold. Just don't think he's technically good enough to be a top level player. I think like mid level Prem suits him quite well. He's very similar to like Loftus Cheek, who again Chelsea have played them both, and I think it shows you when Kante's been fit. And I know they've not had the results, but how much better the midfield looks with Enzo, Kante, and Kovacic. And obviously that latterly used to be Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic, which I always felt was the best midfield pairing in the league. It's just they could never keep Kovacic fit, and now Kante's had injury problems for like 3 years now. So fitness has always been their issue, but they look so much better in there when those three play. And yeah, Enzo's just like he just looks like he's been there forever. He's top. I think he's really good.
I think as well. Alex is putting a good one in this as well. So, and Kunku's obviously coming to Chelsea in the summer. I see Mudrik's on the bench here, but Felix might not stay. He's on loan. Like Chelsea, like they've got good bones to rebuild that team with Mudrik, Enzo, and
Yeah.
Kunku. You know, we're saying Sterling maybe gets cut from this team, maybe he stays. I don't know, but there's some good like quality players that are in good stages of their career. You know, so Chelsea, like they just need who they're going to get as manager. You know, they're just a bit of a basket case in a way. Like
This is what I think, Alex. I think they've really got the bones of like a really good team. Like they've got some players that I think like a certain type of coach can get the most out of. This sounds mental, and it will to a lot of people. I think Mudrik's like top. I think he'll be really good, but he's just been judged a little bit too quickly because of the fee. Like if he was a £30 million player, nobody would be saying it. And that's the same for anybody, right? I think what they need, because I don't think Nkunku is going to solve anything because he's not a striker per se. He's just the same as Havertz. What they need is an out-and-out striker. And I think they've already got it in Lukaku. I think he's already there. I don't know how openly he'll be welcomed back, considering he said he didn't really want to be there and he wanted to go back to Inter and stuff. I think, yeah, exactly. I think Lukaku is the answer, but I just don't know. I think his reputation in England might be frayed to the point where he maybe wouldn't be welcome back with open arms. But he's basically the mould of striker that they need, and he's actually starting to get a little bit of form back at Inter since he come back.
I can't he's going back to Chelsea.
His last two scores are 96.5 and 94.7. Just saying.
That's him just finally getting his Italian groove back on.
25 AA this game week for a striker.
It's all shots.
Let's have a look. But I don't know if you agree. I don't know if you're a big Lukaku fan, but I think he was...
10 assists. Chances created.
Oh, wow, yeah. Okay, attempts assists. Big chance created 3.
Oh, he didn't get goals. He got assists in this game.
Mm.
So he's been playing through 1-on-1, squared it.
That's even playing next to Korea as well. I mean, oh no, it's not. He's got 2. I mean, him and Lautaro are just...
back at it.
They're made to play with each other. They're just so good in the same attack, and both are like really good foil for each other. Chelsea have just tried to go and buy loads of players and fit them in, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I think they're really better suited to like a 4-3-3, and getting Pulisic and Mudryk involved more. I don't get this kind of. I really don't understand what their defence is like playing the 5. I guess it's to accommodate Thiago Silva, who's obviously unreal, but he's rarely available. I don't know. They just lack ideas.
I've put on screen the last time AC played Inter, since we're talking about Inter. We're talking about all that fun stuff. Obviously, they're playing Champions League soon against each other. Lautaro, last time. It was Dzeko and Lautaro last time.
Lukaku bullied Lazio's defence today. Exactly, Stokey Scott. That's what I'm saying. I think Chelsea needs somebody like that. They're playing all these like false 9 strikers up top. They don't have anybody to lead the line, and then because of that, they lack ideas out wide. Like there's no cohesive unit up top, and then their midfield's still a really good unit when they all play together. And then they've got remnants of a defence, but they keep rotating who's actually in there. So there's no continuity throughout the team. And then there's no continuity in the management. And then, the owner doesn't know what he's doing. It's just a mess of a club, but they have all the bones there to be really good. That's what I'm trying to get at. And I think Lukaku would actually lead the line as a main striker because that's what he is. And Nkunku's not a striker, Havertz isn't a striker, Sterling's not a striker, Madueke's not a striker, and Aubameyang's not a football player.
I
I forgot Felix is there. Felix
Yeah.
is there, who's just, I don't know what's happened to him. He looked really good when he first started coming in. Their form picked up, and then, I don't know, he got the ban, and he's not really done anything since.
It's been weird, hasn't it? And the manager change as well. Stocky Scott saying he was at the game with Inter and Lazio, so well done, mate. I hope you had fun, travel safe and all that.
Great.
Chelsea could do with Morata.
Doesn't offer anything
good.
though, apart from
Tap-ins.
offer anything though, really. Yeah, he offers goals, but he doesn't offer a lot all round. Lukaku offers a lot all round. He just doesn't sometimes offer goals. But he's a battering ram. All about the MLS, unlucky to whoever gets him. He's terrible. He just looks so uninterested as a football player, which is a shame because he used to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I can imagine him going to MLS and just being a pain in the arse. Like, just being there for the life all the time and like, oh, I'm injured this week and going to Vegas and playing basketball or doing that kind of stuff. Like, see when he did that video when he signed for Chelsea with him and his family all wearing the blue shirts and all that. Like, I just think that was the moment his career ended. Like, he just it was just over for him, you know.
Oh, FPL veteran, great point. What about Broja? Totally forgot about him. Yeah, he's really good. He's definitely got potential.
Aye, where's he been recently?
He done a really bad injury in a training game. Really, really bad injury. Like snapped his ACL in half or something like that. Armando Broja.
Poor guy.
Injury. It was a proper bad. Well, it was a knee injury, so yeah, it was really bad in December. So, according to Raheem Sterling, he's the fastest player he's ever seen in football, and he's played with Kyle Walker and stuff. So,
yeah,
I mean, Broja's a great shot, and he's huge. Yeah, like him a lot.
Well, let's hope the injury isn't a bad one. He's quite cheap to now for a rare, must be said.
We don't like ACLs though, Quinny, as we've spoken about many times. I really don't like them in young players. They scare me a little bit.
Yeah, same.
I feel like I'd be a really if I was a like actual football manager, I feel like I'd be very timid in terms of making transfers because there's so many like injuries that I feel like there's so many wasted wages on people who are constantly injured. I would try and avoid those players at all costs, and to be honest, I try and do that. With Sorare to avoid headaches a lot of the time.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
Sometimes you miss out on some of the good ones.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than like I don't know. We've been there a few times, but you know, a guy has got an injury record, and when you know they're totally fit, there's just always a wee bit here that's like, this isn't going to last. Like, this isn't going to last. This guy's going to break. He's going to break. You know? And now we've got a wee bit of a game of chicken on the go with Lister play as well. Because with those guys, it's like, oh, what am I doing this week? Is he going to break? Is he going to break?
I've got that with Vinicius Junior with his suspension record. It's unbelievable. At least you can foresight for that, but he's never available. Look how long it's taking for Chiesa to get back. Doku's a perfect example. Charlie Dunbar just said, yeah.
Chiesa looked all right tonight, by the way. What did he score? He only scored a 40, but he looked good tonight. Like, he was nippy, he was in amongst it. Played Kostic further forward. Juve, like, honestly, I'm very biased, obviously, because the goalkeeper, right? But Bologna are a proper unit, by the way. Like, if Bologna get a bit of talent on top of that team, like, they could be really useful in that division. But Juve, man, honestly,
Reece James, great example. Just made of chocolate. But you know, again, I was looking at him. It was like I think his Super Rare was up for a really reasonable price, and I was like, that would be a great piece. I mean, he's got 300 and a 90 this season, like that from fullback. That's pretty insane. And then you just got rows of DMPs, and then he comes back as soon as he peaks in a little bit of form, gets an 85, 60, 75 run, then back on the bench, and then injured, and he's out for the season again. He's only 23. It's a shame. He's definitely going to have one of those careers, unfortunately. He is top, though. Really good player.
Feels a bit like Pozuelo. Remember Pozuelo? The whole wait for him. Oh, he's in Turkey. What?
Yeah. I had a rare for ages when he went to Turkey. His scores are good, but they're like flaky. He doesn't play all the time.
They're not terrible, but wow.
Well, his L2 is good, but yeah, look at everything before that. Like, that's his only 2 good scores since he went there.
Look at all those rows of data. This is all time. So this is all the way back to game week 48 or something.
Yeah. You can get him for like 25 quid though. I mean, pretty good punt. He's
Nice.
a proven really good scorer.
MLS MVP. And these guys sometimes go back to MLS after a year being away. MLS kind of still own them for a year, don't they? Kind of like there's a weird, they also have weird contract situations with these MLS players. Oh, what did you think? Did you see the TikTok thing the day of Lewis Morgan?
Yes, I did. I think that's very odd to go and burn your bridges. I think to a question like that, you would just answer it in reverse and say, well, I was a boyhood Rangers fan, but I got the chance to play for Celtic, and then leave it at,
Yeah, just leave it there.
Exactly, and then just leave it there. Definitely wouldn't be committing to Rangers after playing for Celtic, because they're not going to want you. And now you've pissed off all the Celtic fans.
Oh, right. I think Rangers would take him. I think he makes our team better, probably.
No, he definitely doesn't. He definitely doesn't. I mean, removing Ryan Kent makes the team better.
I think he's better than Kent.
No, he's not. But Ryan Kent in current form is really bad. He was terrible today. Obviously got hooked at half time. Sakala comes on, and he was just. I mean, he is just what I think. Him and Maida are almost like the perfect foils on the opposite side of the coin. They're just, you don't know what you're going to get. Maida, unbelievable ball for the first goal, and then he gets played through, has an easy left foot across the box and puts it out of play on the other side of the park. Unbelievable.
It's frustrating in that sense.
And Cizo at Brighton looks naughty. Can't say I've seen much of him, FPL veteran, but I know that he's done bits over the last couple of games.
I've seen him once. He looks good, man. And he's a guy who's had cards as well, like right young as well. I love seeing those old school, like 2021 issue, is it? Those Argentinian division cards. When you get some of those wonder kids popping up and being good, it's always nice to see, I think. So yeah, been nice to see him pop up on that Brighton scene. Actually, I thought it was.
To have a little...
Oh no, it might not be that in Cisco. I'm thinking of actually. I see what I just said there, Hendo. I think it might be that. It's a Southampton guy. I'm thinking of Alcaraz.
Okay.
That's who I was thinking of there. I'll check that. I know who that in Cisco is, but I thought he had cards. But I don't think he will, because he's like mad young, isn't he?
Kenny should have a look at. And again, it's someone who I think it was Carragher talking today that he should be playing for England as Lewis Dunk. For me, by far the second best English defender. Him and probably Tomori up there, but Dunk's just so consistently excellent for Brighton. He just gets overlooked because he's at Brighton, but Brighton are one of the best teams in the league now. It should be him and John Stones starting every game for me.
Statistically, on like all major metrics, Lewis Dunk is firmly a top 10 defender in Europe, like over the last 2 or 3 seasons or something. It's mad when you look at his statistics. It's
he's extremely good in possession. He's extremely good at progressing the ball, and he's just an all-round solid, like old school defender. So he's basically everything that people think Maguire is, but Maguire isn't. And Maguire plays every game, so he's just better in every way. And then John Stones is, I mean, he's had an unbelievable run the last few months. Just looking like one of the best defenders probably in the world at the moment. And he's playing CDM just for shits and gigs.
Going all the way back to game week 98, this is his form. A fair amount of 90 pluses for a Brighton defender. That's what he's been this whole time. Not a bad run.
Stevie. Oh, he must be a Celtic fan. Because he says we should go for another centre back because injury always good to have 3. And Callum Goodman says, what do you think of Cantwell up in Scotland? Part of me is scared he'll move on soon. I'll take that one because I think on the ball today I thought Cantwell was excellent. And then off the ball is the reason why he's been shipped out by the English clubs that he's been at, because he was terrible off the ball. And him and Tillman cannot play together because they are both equally bad at defending. And if Tati was fit today, he would have dog walked the midfield, in my opinion. Cantwell on the ball though you can tell he's a player that was once compared to your Madisons and all this kind of stuff, because on the ball he was excellent.
Fair enough. I don't think he'll be leaving Rangers anytime soon. I don't think he'll get another team to pay him the money Rangers are paying him. There's rumours Cantwell's the best paid player in the league. I don't know if that's to be believed or not, but they are rumours all the same. So yeah, I don't
SO5 wise
see.
though, he looks tasty. Cantwell.
SO5 wise, Cantwell is very, if you don't care about him playing for Rangers, if that's not a negative in your world, no matter who you are, where you are. And Cantwell's really good SO5 selection, especially if he does stay at Rangers next year. The short time he's been there, like, form's been pretty good, So, yeah, if you're looking at one for SO5 and you're not upset that he plays for Rangers, then yeah, he could be a good card for sure.
Yeah, FPL veterans away. Thanks, mate. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, nice to see you.
I guess it's 3 to 4 matches a year where I avoid them and then line them up for the rest. Yeah. England back three should be Tamori, Duncan, Stones, but Southgate will pick Maguire and Tamori won't make the squad. Correct. That is just factually correct.
Yeah. Tamori
which
for
is a
sure.
shame. Actually, it's not a shame. It's not a shame. It's great. England don't play what they should do. That's really good.
I'm just catching up with some of the chat as well.
He's been the best centre back at Brighton, and they kept him whilst getting good money for Ben White and Dan Burn. I mean, harsh because both have been very good this season as well. And yeah, apart from Ben White doing some weird stuff against City, just emotionally, but he's been really good and converted into a right back, and Burn has been converted into a left back. So, yeah, I think they've all been really good.
Good to see Fish and Stevie back in the house. It's been a while. I think Fish and Stevie normally joins the Celtic live watch along stuff.
Jack Kay. This is where I come in. Remember to check the SPL table. First of all, it's the Scottish Premiership, not the SPL.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll let you off with that. But when you get a chance, we'd love to hear your thoughts about relegation. Let's have a look.
I've got the tab up on screen. If I have a look at the table. Hendo's the SPFL. So the relegation group was the question I got at the beginning of the stream, Hendo. Who do we think is going to get relegated?
So I think Ross County are down. The reason being, I spoke about this with a mate recently. I don't think Malky Mackay by any stretch is a bad manager, but he's been left hung out to dry considering about 70% of their goals came through Regan Charles Cook or Joseph Hungbo, and neither were kept past last season. And then replacing them, basically they've had to look around and not quite found what they were looking for. And then in January, they've went, right, what do we need? We need goals. And they've went and signed Simon Murray, who scored a lot of them in the Championship, and Eamon Brophy, who has historically been a good goal scorer. And both have done quite decent, but they're still not getting the supply that they need. So they've not really sorted that issue. So, and, defensively, they're about as good as anybody else down there, but it's going forward that they're struggling. So 4 points adrift, don't see them calling that back. And I think he said he tipped Kilmarnock. I'm going to go a different way and say St Johnstone, who are actually third in that relegation table. I think they're going to end up in the playoffs. The reason being, I just don't think they're particularly good. They have changed manager. I think Callum Davison was good enough to keep them up. Dundee United, I think, will be fine because they're hitting form at the right time. Motherwell, obviously, they're kind of safe, and Livingston are definitely safe. But I think St Johnstone are just the poorest squad out of the three, and Kilmarnock have the best manager out of the three. So that would be my reasoning there.
Fair enough. I think St Johnstone losing their manager, it's definitely something I would think would probably set them against Kilmarnock in the head-to-head situationally, if you know what I mean. But sometimes, after a bad form, clearing somebody out, maybe they get a bit of a bounce, and they do have the points advantage. So it depends how it goes. But I don't think Motherwell... I think we believe Dundee United will probably do enough, because they're getting form now. 3 wins on the spin there under the new manager. So you probably expect them to do enough to get themselves out of there, but it's far from over for Dundee United. So I think there's a lot of people picking up Dylan Levitt, and they don't know what to do with him for next year because he is contracted. He is a Dundee United player. You would suspect he would be sold, but if he did get relegated, even though he is injured, but which might make things a bit tricky. Who knows? But
I'm going to have a quick look as well. This is a little nuance that people will obviously look over, but I'm just going to have a look at who Livingston have got at home. So they played Dundee United at home. They've got Motherwell at home, which is inconsequential. And every other team is actually away. That's quite interesting. So Livingston actually pick up, about 65% of their points at home because they've got a terrible plastic pitch. Kilmarnock actually pick up over 90% of their points at home, which is insane. They've only picked up, I think, 1 point away from home this season, or maybe 2. So just having a look at Killie, they've got St Johnstone at home, which again I think they could win. They've got Livingston at home, who again, like I've just said, are quite poor travellers. And they've got Ross County at home, who I think are the poorest team. So I think they could actually get 9 points out of their home games. And I think that they can actually, from there, I mean, Dundee United away is tough and Motherwell away is really tough. So I reckon they'll end up with 9 points out of that, out of the 15 available, and I think that will be enough to keep them up.
That'd be solid maths, but yeah, I think that then puts Dundee United and St Johnstone right in the mire then. So yeah, it's quite a 6-pointer, Kelly and St Johnstone, and then I guess Dundee United, St Johnstone, it will be the direct head-to-heads there between all the points that are below Motherwell way, really. So it's going to be a little trifecta.
Couple of things. So Killy go down, and also should with our plastic pitch. Agreed, there should be no plastic pitches in the top division. It's a disgrace. Ian Sorare, I think, is a St Johnstone fan. He says we'll get out of it. I don't think he will. And I would probably rather not. I'm a Dunfermline fan, so I'd probably rather not have to go to McDermott next season, because I'm not a huge fan of it, and it's not very far for us. So I would rather avoid that. And Sad Johnson out injured as good back for us. Ralston be fine for now, says Fishing Steve. That was obviously a Celtic question.
Aye. Looking forward to, at least Ralston gets to run out the rest of the season, because I think he's been hard done to. I think, we're chatting about this recently. I can't remember where it was, but there was an argument that, I think it was the Sorare CSC on the Celtics Are Here channel. I can't remember who it was that brought up the point. Hendo, I thought it was a great point. It was like, there was times where there was an argument who was the better right back, Ralston or Juranovic. It does feel now that there is no argument. Everyone thinks it is Alistair Johnson, right? But Ralston was maybe that guy, and he didn't really do anything to lose his spot other than AJ came in and he's been picked and he's been amazing. So I'm quite glad, if nothing else, Ralston will get to have a nice finish this season and probably play in our final, because if he's on crutches with a boot on, AJ, I don't think they'll be rushing him back to see the season.
Agreed. I think also as well, I don't want to just be purely clouded by recency bias, but I think Alistair Johnson's come in and he's just been really fits Ange's team more than Juranovic. I think just slightly. He's more dynamic. He's absolutely rapid. He really gets stuck in, and I think in the big games, i.e. the Old Firm games, he's really stood out as a standout in pretty much every single one of them, and that's very short into his Celtic career. Juranovic was really good, but I think Johnson is just slightly more suited to that team. I don't know how you feel though.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Might be too early. Might be too early to say.
Johnson's been quality. Anyway, a big miss. But I say, the strength in Celtic now is in the numbers in the squad. Looking at the top half, I think there's maybe European spots to be ironed out, but beyond that, obviously, there's nothing. So the third and the fourth spot, and I think there's maybe another spot that would come into the league table if and when Celtic secure the Scottish Cup. There might be another spot that maybe comes into fifth place or something like that. I'm not too sure how it all works.
Top 5 get Europe.
Yeah, top 5 get Europe if Celtic win the Scottish Cup.
No, just at all.
Okay, I thought it was maybe on cup wins and stuff like that as well. Because I think cup winners get European. So I think because Celtic won the League Cup, that's why it's 4 spots. I don't know. I know you're quite easy. I don't want to argue, but I'll go and check this out where I got it from and see where I've got it wrong.
It certainly used to be because Dunfermline got it that way. We got it we got into it twice, but no, it's top 5.
Stocky Scott's saying that I'm right in the live chat, anyway, but we'll see. Vickers and Johnson out, mate, weaken us. Nah, I don't think so. I think Kobayashi comes in, Starfelt moves over, and Ralston. I think if Alistair Johnson's an 8 out of 10, Ralston's a 7. I don't think we're really losing anything in the final period of the season by having Ralston in over Alistair Johnson. They're very similar. You actually get kind of the same thing out of both of them, whereas Juranovic and Ralston were quite different, like you were saying, Hendo, in terms of actually fitting the style and shape. I think Johnson out Ralston. I think it's part of the reason Ralston's been so good is because he actually fits the system. So.
Do you know what I was going to say as well? Do you know why I think I'll come back to Maxime's comment in a second, but yeah, Juranovic's really good because going forward he had a great delivery and stuff. But if you think about it, Celtic play Kyogo all the time, who is not there to be taking crosses per se. Like Kyogo will take a cross from the byline to tap in, but he's not exactly like a big target man. Whereas Alistair Johnson's not actually that good at crossing, I wouldn't say, but he's more dynamic and he's kind of better on that defensive side. Fish and Steve saying obviously Parr's done well in the 60s, but yeah, just going back to Maxime's comment, he says look at Mathieu Chonier. He's got 200s in a row for Montreal. I guess you could take that one up, Quinny, because you're kind of the MLS guy, but I'm kind of looking at his scores and wondering how he's managed to dig out, because he's had nothing really his whole time there, like no good scores. But then even like, he's had 3 decisives in the 2 games, but he's had 47 and 52 AA games.
Is that a peak?
Bovo, this is Sorare, partly. I don't know, just talking about Scottish football a little bit. Yeah, Willie Callahan Jr., they did die kind of recently. And he said, told me once at Celtic were team son, this is mainly a Rangers town. I don't know if Dunfermline's a Rangers town, but hopefully it'll be Dunfermline town going forward. Definitely on the way up.
Yeah, the back-to-back hundreds is crazy.
It's just crazy looking at where's it come from. That's what I want to know.
So he's played centre mid. I don't know. Maybe looks like the last couple of games he's been the big points. When I say it's triple, and then the attacking output for the goal.
That's a bit of research for you, mate. That's a bit of research, because what has he done in these games that's different, or has there been a change in manager? He's 24 as well. That's interesting. Are you interested in my gallery to buy it? No, I am not, Bovo, unfortunately. I don't think me and Quinny are gallery buyers. However, if you look at a guy, his name is Ruv, or RUV on Twitter, I think he buys them at pretty reasonable clips. So
this is a good guy to watch out for.
When would be the best time to sell him, says Maxime? That's a good question. Well, I mean, he has quintupled in price on the limited side. So now... Maybe,
yeah. Under 23 until like next month, so not much stardust left on him in that sense.
SR Monkeys bought a rare. That's interesting.
Nice.
Who can you say again? It's Ruv. So RUV is his name, or I think it's Portuguese Trader 1
on Twitter or something.
Yeah, it's at the Portuguese T1.
And Football Player here is saying that he buys galleries. And Football Player, he won the suggestion for the Alan Pulido. The video will be out probably Tuesday. So I'll sort all that out. If you're the winner, Football Player, I'll be in contact with you directly anyway, buddy. Congratulations in advance if you were the winner. Brilliant, mate. Bovo's telling us some of the players he's got in his gallery or something, which is cool. But Maxime, yeah, I think with these players, Hendo, it's kind of hard to judge when you've got a player popping off. Getting 100 feels like the time to sell maybe off that peak, but when you've got to staring at you back to back, and Montreal have been rubbish. They've been really rubbish under this new manager. I didn't realize this guy did back-to-back 100s, but they're obviously just defending much. Maybe he's getting all of Wanyama's points, because Wanyama's not been doing anything in terms of tackling and stuff like that. I've been waiting Wanyama. I've been dropping 50s and 60s, but maybe it's this guy that's getting all the Wanyama job.
Yeah, quite possibly. But that's interesting. I can't think of anybody who's like a non-premium player that's actually done that. I can't think of any that stick in my mind. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Maxime.
Yeah. So yeah,
I'm just going
to.
Yeah, I was going to say, quick point. Obviously, we were squabbling about who gets Europe and stuff, but it was, I think Celtic will beat Inverness. That's probably going to happen. But it's just so interesting that Aberdeen have just brought in Barry Robson as a rookie manager, and he's went and won 7 games in a row. It's kind of pot luck in a way. So they're fortunate. You can see they've actually scored less goals than Hearts, but I would still say Aberdeen are a more potent team between having Duke and Miovski. They've got guys who they can rely on for goals. Hearts have got Shankland, of course, who has scored like 20 plus, but they've got kind of other guys that can chip in as well. It'll just be interesting to see what kind of transpires, and then obviously it's kind of a shootout for 5th with Hibs and St Mirren. I think Hibs are a better team overall, and Hibs have actually got a really good record against the top 6 this season. I think outside of the top 2, they've got the best record of the other 4 against the 6 overall. So I would expect Hibs to stay in that 5th slot, and I wouldn't expect Hearts to overtake Aberdeen. Now, 5 points is tough when you're likely not going to get much against Celtic and Rangers. So you've basically got to pick up 5 points in 3 games. Quite tough to do.
Yeah. And like I do back you on pretty much everything you've said there, but I think St Mirren have been one of the best teams Celtic have played consistently this season.
They really have. They really have.
And they've got Tony Watt, the good luck charm, who qualified for Europe in 5th position last season after transferring into Dundee United halfway through the season. So if Motherwell were to do it, if St Mirren were to do it, I think Tony was on maybe be on to some sort of record there or something. But I wouldn't be surprised to see St Mirren do it because Hibs, yeah, they've got a good team in that, but that manager's been up and down with them all season. They go in patches of they can't win, and then they go through patches of they can't lose.
I love that you've said that because, again, he's affectionately known as Streaky Lee by my Hibs supporting friends because they are so streaky. So it just depends what Hibs actually turn up. So you're completely right there. I'm glad you've said that.
So,
I think, again, I'm just having a little look at the Shankland comment there, just about like, do you think he'll play more? He was playing like as a shadow striker. I hate when he plays there, to be honest. It's great for SO5 though. It's absolutely brilliant because he gets involved in everything. But he's so much better as the focal point. And his goals actually kind of came from playing up with Ginnelly rather than like playing off him. And I guess that's what a shadow striker is, isn't it? He just kind of plays literally off the man at the top. So yes, I would probably expect that to stay, but I prefer him as a focal point.
31 AA, man. 5 attempted assists, 1 big chance created because of that link-up play. It is normally the finisher, so if he is getting a wee bit of that link-off and lay-off play, and that could be brilliant, by the way.
And one thing to say, again, people were talking about, you were saying earlier about who's going to be your 20 for next season, who's going to be, your Aston Villa. I don't think Hearts are quite in that bracket, but they could be like the cap 220 because Hearts will bang like 4 or 5 times a season. But it just it won't be every week. But it seems like they actually all kind of hit it all at once. So you can see there, fair enough, yeah, Clark ends up with a 28.5. But again, that was just stupid from Cochrane, who, if he doesn't give away the penalty, Cochrane scores 100, right? Clark gets a 60. Civic generally scores quite well. Devlin always scores well when Hearts play well. He seems to get involved. Then Shankland bangs, Ginnelly, Barry Mackay. Yeah, they've got loads of people there that if we're thinking cap 220 here, I always think like the average of the players is 220. So generally, if you're thinking like maybe 260, 270 is getting you in the cards, if you had that kind of stat together, they probably would have fit in and they'd be somewhere around they'd be up at the 3. If you had Ginnelly and Shanklin, Devlin, Cochrane and Clark, they'd be up in like the 360 range from a cap 220. So
370, yeah, 370, pretty much 380 maybe, but the spare bits. Fair enough. I think Hearts, maybe had me and you maybe had a wee bit of that thought where Hearts going to. I was expecting big things from Snoddy this year. We got some good scores out of him, but nothing tremendously amazing. And Shankland, I think, is getting the form now. He's had the form all season, really. Shankland scored a lot of goals this year. It's just getting him to link in with your other 4 players. It's maybe the struggle.
Exactly. I had a big Hearts contingency, and that was my plan. But they never released Clark's super rare card, so his super rare remained to be too expensive for what his scores were. I was very adamant that it was going to be him next season. I still think it will be, but I think you might actually see Gordon come back in a little bit more than I thought he might have, just because he brings an assurance to the rest of the defence that sometimes they might need in some of the games. So I think you might see some of that. And I think now it was all kind of geared up for, if Clark could get that international experience, that would maybe kick him on to the next level for the rest of his career. With Angus Gunn coming out, I don't see him getting that now.
Yeah, same.
But I've still got, I don't know why he's not showing. Oh, it's because it just goes by team. But I've still got Mackay, Super Rare, and Shankland Super Rare, who are now going to be part of my Cap 240 lineup. Again, you can kind of start them together when they've got a good fixture and their averages are never particularly high. I've got the Kingsley Super Rare as well, who for some reason his form has just completely fell off the face of the earth. But he's a player who, he takes set pieces and he's a defender. So in general, you quite like that. And I've still got the Kingsley Rare and Limited just because, I don't know, I like Stephen Kingsley. So he's just there. Fishing Steve, what is he saying? I've walked up the tunnel in San Siro, been in the Bernabeu, seated on the subs bench, and sat inside the Ajax arena. Guess who I am, guys? I'm VIP. I don't get that. Is Kieran Zorklu likely to break into the first team next season or be a rotation player? Probably rotation, Mike. I think that they'll be wanting to strengthen in the midfield because it's actually where they've been weaker this season than what they have been previously. Peter Haring's constantly injured, and I don't think they've been trying to fill like this attacking void for a long time. Like George Grant, they had Ollie Lee at one point. They've had various other people in there, and they've never managed to fill it. So I think they'll be.
Oh, that boy Oda was good at the weekend.
Yes, he was, but he was trying to walk the ball into the net, from what I heard. So as a forward, not great.
No, definitely not. What about the other boy, the Australian guy? Did he get injured? The boy at Newcastle? Owned him?
Nah, he's just not been playing. He's not been good. Yeah, he's not been good.
Did he get a card yet? What was his name? Cool.
Cool. I don't think he does.
Benny Beringham's get cards.
Oh, Beningame. Yeah, forgot about him. Good player. He's
I can't go call. Oh, he's not. I don't think he. He does have cards.
Maybe he's just got a picture.
No, he's got 8 rares and 50 limited.
Oh, okay.
It's one to get for the future. The scores are terrible, but sorry, I'm sharing the wrong tab. Sorry, but yeah, he's not really got many scores, but they're all awful. They're all for Hearts. Newcastle, not Newcastle. Sorry, Australia in the World Cup. His 18 minutes against Argentina and his 17 minutes against France.
I was going to say something to you, Quinny, as well, because I know obviously this is completely different topic. By the way, it's just obviously I know that people probably don't want to hear too much about Scottish football all the time. It was more about obviously because you're a CFG guy. Have you got any plans to actually add city pieces?
Yeah, big time, mate. I did so. I've been looking at getting some city cards, but it's a case of getting the wallet up, and I'm buzzing that I can get a De Bruyne now, and it's not going to cost me like 12 ETH or something for a rare. So, now I think the last time I checked for De Bruyne, it was maybe about 0.7, 0.8 or something. This whole Mr. Play thing probably kicked up to over an ETH again.
No,
maybe
it's
not.
0.87.
Yeah, so he's right in amongst that, and that's perfect, mate. He's 31. He's rotation bait. You know, maybe it gets a bit cheaper in the off season. Scores are obviously killer, of course, but I'd like to get a De Bruyne. I'd like to get a Foden, and I think it would really be. It depends on the prices of stuff. And could I get a Haaland? I think I could maybe get a Haaland if he keeps falling.
Would you
on auction?
I assume you'd be looking at rare level.
Yeah. All these are rares for sure. Like I don't think I'd be able to get supers of these guys. But I
definitely
want
meaning more like you wouldn't look at limiteds.
Nah, I don't think I'd be buying limiteds of these guys because, like, I'm a City. Like, I've supported City since like what was the year 97 or something like that. So I've been really waiting, and I feel like I've kind of forgotten in a bit of a way, like how much I've like supported Man City over my life until like started watching a few of the games again over the last month or so, and it's like, oh yeah. So it's kind of that way with Celtic, mate, as well, because see through that season where we didn't win 10 in a row, that's when I was like getting right deep into all this stuff, you know. And then it was when that season finished and we got Ange Postecoglou in, and it was kind of like, oh, okay, cool, let's forget that happened. Let's just forget that season happened and let's get back to it. And then through that time, it's then Man City kind of fell off my radar a little bit, you know, and I was watching more Leipzig and I was watching more just world football, MLS and all that. And it's just kind of getting, you just don't have enough time for everything. So I'm kind of getting back into that City wake again, you know, and Foden, I think I need to get a Foden 1,000,000%. And Rico Lewis is a rookie because Pep's talking about giving him a big deal, you know, and I've not really seen much of him play this year, but a rookie card's it's always good to get one.
Yeah, a couple of things. I think Peel Neaterson would obviously be Neil Peterson, I'm assuming, but do you guys get Asian and American cards for the off-season? We've kind of already answered that one at the start, but we basically said we've kind of written it off because it's a good opportunity to really build towards what our main strategies are, and that's a little bit of a side strategy for both of us at the moment. And the one I was going to say, Quinny, was just Grealish, because obviously if you look at him just now, his lowest AA game in like the last little while has been 11, which is obviously not unbelievable. That was against Fulham today. But before that, he's got a really nice base. And then anytime he gets a decisive, you know, against Southampton, 2 decisives, gets an 87. 2 against Liverpool gets a 97. So he's a really good SO5 player. And I don't know about you, I just really like Jack Grealish as a guy and as a player.
He's definitely. I don't know, mate. He's changed my opinion of him over the last 2 months or something. This kind of maybe the last 3. But this period here, he has really kicked on. He plays every game, and like you say, every game I've watched him, I've watched him quite a lot over this spell here. He's been flawless, really. He's been brilliant. Yeah, this run here, I've tuned in a fair amount of these games, and he's been brilliant. Honestly, he's been.
I think he's great. And I remember watching quite a lot of him. I don't know why this was like a season I watched a lot of Championship stuff. But it was when he was at Villa in the Championship. Yeah, he was just incredible. Him and like McGinn and Tammy Abraham in the Championship. Yeah, they just had a really good team that year, and I found myself watching quite a lot of him. And from that point, he's like one of the only like English players that I've really got quite an affinity for. He's just a really good guy as well. Like, you see a lot of the stuff he does for, like I think he's got a disabled sister and that kind of thing, and he does a lot for charities, and he's always happy to meet fans and stuff. He's just a good guy, and I'd quite like to pick him up, especially like even just as an option, because like I said to you, I don't really have a lot of champ mids. He'd be quite good to have as an option in there.
Yeah, Julian Alvarez is a good shout as well, because you've got a feeling that if Haaland was to move to Real Madrid in a season or two, probably Alvarez gets some minutes, probably moves up the pecking order.
Did you see his goal today?
It was nice, man. Really good.
Yeah, it was so nice. So well taken.
Tuned in a bunch late, but my bad. A Sean Goater card. No, I think if I was to get a Man City legend card, I don't know. I'd probably quite fancy a Nicolas Anelka or something like that. Like an Anelka or a Dickoff. Because Anelka for me was like, Anelka was the first time Man City spent big money, and it was like, oh, we've got Anelka. Like, oh, I could go to one Pro F finally, and I wouldn't get battered by all my mates. I had a goal scorer, I could finish and stuff. So I liked Anelka. I thought he was quite a big signing at the time. Goater's cool. I like Paul Dickoff. Georgie Kinkladze is probably the cult hero everyone would pick. So they're. It's completely dead. I'm trying to sell all my cards for days and days, well under market price, and nothing is selling. Tracy Beaker. It's a shame selling all cards by now. If you're after some bargains, go find Tracy.
What is your Sorare name, Tracy? I will have a look and probably tell you why, because they may not be of particular quality. That might be the reason.
Fishing Steve is getting some. Is definitely getting some riddles on the go or something. Or I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to keep up, Fishing Steve, with your comments. I'm really sorry, mate. You start talking about John, and then you're talking about Bobby Lennox and stuff. I'm really struggling to keep up, mate. And I know you're limited to characters in the chat, which is why you need to break the messages up. But I'm doing my best. I don't really know if you're giving us a poem or something, or some mind teaser or something, but I love it.
Selling all cards, buy now. Let's have a look.
Also, late Frank McGarvey. I spotted in Hope Street, Glasgow, and take a picture with him, Quinny. I love it. I don't know Frank McGarvey, but I'm pretty sure he was a teacher in the school my friends went to. No, maybe that's a different. No, that's not actually scratch. That's a lie. It's a different guy. It was a teacher. It was Divers.
So
played in the Lisbon Lions squad.
So there's a D2 keeper there. That's one of them. An Austin Trusty. Thomas Suslov. He's pretty good, Suslov. He's quite cheap, £29. Interesting. I've said I'm not buying any riffraff, but that's quite good.
All good crack.
0.015. I mean, yeah, so you've got them listed for 0.019 and the floor is 0.015. Oh, it might be because he's got a forward card, but even still, he's not the floor. Sakala, £75. Yeah, not bad.
There's a lot of rares that are quite. I see a few rares today about £50, mate. It's a lot of good value. Around that kind of mark now.
Yeah. The other thing as well, you've got him up for a decent price, but he's also not sold in a month and a half. So the actual demand for the card doesn't appear to be particularly high. In terms of like selling your cards, it's just, you could sell them at a 75% clip all at once if you're really looking to get the money, which is good. There is liquidity in the market, and then you've got a Ralston there, which Quinny will buy off you. No, but I don't know. Maybe you could get a bit of utility for Ralston at the end of the season. You know, £17 last sale, March 22nd. Don't know what he'll be at now. Have you got a rare Ralston, Quinny?
No, I don't have any Ralston.
Well, there you go. Maybe Quinny will buy the Ralston off you, Tracy Beaker. I mean, you can negotiate a price, I guess, because his floor's now up to 0.04.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, that's a buyer's market. It's a seller's market, even. No. On you go. You'll be fine. You'll get that sold, neighbour. He'll start playing. I'm waiting for champion editions.
Quinny will give you £20 for him.
I'm waiting for champion edition cards.
Everybody else, I mean, this guy's got pretty good scores. Aliu Federa. Know anything about him, Quinny?
I can't say that I do, buddy.
He's up for £144 and he sold one day ago in auction for 121. So there's one. Fine. Fish and Steve's off. Thanks for the stories, mate. Appreciate it.
That's no problem. I was going to say, Hendo, we're about the 2 hour mark anyway, so I think we should probably
wrap up
and go. Thanks a lot, guys. I had no idea what we were going to do tonight. I think we've kind of went a little bit of everywhere and nowhere wrong at once. I've had a good time, Hendo. Thanks a lot for popping in, mate.
Thanks, pal. Nice one.
Take care, everyone. See you soon.